Hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Back again with the premiere, and for those of you who tuned in yesterday, you'll know the process basically. So today I'm flying in the real world, today I'm flying from Glasgow back to London Heathrow, flying in British Airways A320, and yeah, recreating the flight in Flight Sim to go alongside our real life flights. So there's a Flight Radar 24 link in the description, also probably pin in the comments if we get time to do that. Feel free to check our flights, feel free to check us in Sim, see how accurate I get to real life, and yeah, it should be a fun little flight this. So, let's say today flying from Glasgow to London, spent just over 24 hours there, had a whole day on Monday, come back kind of mid-afternoon Tuesday, so good couple of days, and well, back to work tomorrow, so I guess I'm back to London to go with that. And if I'm not on this flights, then well, I've got myself a very expensive train ticket to buy tomorrow, don't I? So, this aircraft will have just flown up from London a couple minutes before. Would have flown up as British Airways 1488, and so taking 1489 back down to London, the 320 departure. So, well, the aircraft's in, it's in turnaround configuration, so systems are all on RS's line, that kind of stuff. It's a turnaround flight, it shouldn't take us too long to set the aircraft up for departure. So, first things first, we might as well start boarding the passengers and get the first part of this flight over and done with. Also, get a fuel truck on board. Actually, we'll do the fuel truck first, and then we'll do the passengers. So, activate tablets. Give that a few seconds. We'll pull the info from SimBrief. So, they go Glasgow to London, that's fine. Dispatch, go to the flight plan page. Fuel on board today is 6209. So, load it up now. 6209. It's about 5 minutes of fuel on today. That's perfect. Go back to flight plan. The magic numbers we need today are constant 22 and a cruising altitude of 330. It's not quite as high as yesterday's cruise, 330. So that might make life a bit easier to set up. So you can see that's our previous flight info there. The flights to Glasgow. Going to change it now with flights from Glasgow, Echo Golf, Papa Foxtrot to Heathrow, Echo Golf, Lima, Lima. Input that. No need to do the installation request, we'll do that manually. Our flight number today is BA1489 with a costing of 22 and a cruising of 330. Perfect. So that's all set up, that will load up. 0 for weight center gravity, pull from the aircraft. Our block fuel on board is 6209, 6.2, and that's the initialization now completes. We'll jump back to the main, we'll open up PACX, and we'll start now loading the passengers for our return trip back to London. So, Glasgow to London, 1489, 33,000 cruise, but 1 hour and 5 minutes on the clock, so it's a slightly longer flight returning, but not by much basically. And departure will be approximately 30, we'll have a look at the time, so 20 past, it will be 26 minutes. A320 with this flight had 60 available seats on the last time I checked, so we'll go to 14. A few more passengers, so we'll say 118 people on this flight today. There'll probably be more in reality when we do make the trip back, but based on the current numbers, that will be my prediction for today. Get Wi-Fi, have safe briefing, no, we get snacks, we don't get meal service, and with that, let's start the boarding, shall we? So, welcome to Glasgow. We will start with the flight plan now. So over to the flight plan page, starting with Norbo. Insert that. From Norbo, we fly the Uniform Tango 256 to DCS, Digital Combat Simulator. Nice little reference there. So, Uniform Tango 256 is DCS, then we fly the Uniform Lima 612 to Lakey. Then we fly direct to Nugra. I don't need that. Don't need a fuel truck. Lakey, fly direct to Nugra, and that's the end of our flight plan there. In terms of arrivals today, well, in terms of departure, so departing runway 05 on the Norbo 1 Juliet, and arriving on runway 09 right, by the Bravo November 1 Bravo arrival. So a couple of pretty straightforward flights and approaches for us today. That's all set. Perfect. greet the passengers, we'll listen to the weather report, and then we'll get ourselves our clearance to London. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard this British Airways flight 1489 from here in Glasgow to London Heathrow. Flight time today, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Got clear skies on departure today, although we're going to be landing in a potentially rainy and stormy London, so potentially a bit of turbulence on the way in, but other than that, a perfectly alright flight. We thank you for choosing British Airways, and if you have any questions on board, feel free to speak to cabin crew. Otherwise, hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy your trip with us today. We'll give PACX a few more seconds just to process the message. There we go. That'll be a public address general message. There's no ATC at the moment here in Glasgow, so we'll be doing it on Unicom, so we'll set that up for departure as well. Tune to Unicom 122.8. Let's set our departure up for Glasgow. So it's 05 on the Norboat. Insert that. Delete the user points. And insert that. Perfect. Next thing I'll do is I'll quickly set up the Unicom side of things. Here's a view of the aircraft from the next door jet bridge. Again, flying the British Airways, well, flying British Airways colours. Very good looking livery, this indeed. Well, I've seen a few people as of late kind of cool for British Airways, kind of update livery, change it, modernise it. I don't know, I quite like Chatham Dockyard. Don't think it's in quite need of change just yet. Right, set up Unicom, so departing. Currently it's gates 24. Taxiway sort out in a second. SIDS Norway 1 Juliet from runway 05. Weather, we'll do it in a second. Taxiway's departure today, that will be... Get the charts up. So we push back on to... Is that Mike? Yeah, push back onto Mike. Alright, push back onto Mike. Taxi down Golf. Holding at Golf for 05. Very simple taxi today. Right, that's all set. So I'll close that, minimise that. Let's jump back to the cockpit. There's the greeting from the cabin crew. Let's listen to the ATIS and let's get our weather report for today.
Winds 060, clear. Altimeter 1017. Vis dew point 8 degrees Celsius. Temperature 19 degrees Celsius. Ability 10 kilometers. Variable 010 to 090. Winds 060.
Just skip over altimeter.
Altimeter 1017. Vis dew point 8 degrees.
There you go. Bit glitchy sometimes, but hey ho, does the job. Yeah, like I say, so winds variable 7 knots, visibility 10 degrees, 10 kilometers, temperature 19 centigrades, dew point 8, altimeter 1017 of clear skies reported. Set the altitude to, okay, come back to do it for us. Set altitude flights level 330. So set that, speed set that. Make sure all throttles all do out, I guess. Right, so weather report is printed. Back to the aircraft, it's our performance. So performance is cool. So flaps 1 for takeoff. Flex temp is 70. Transition altitude today is 6,000. And our takeoff speeds are V1, 123, 124, and 128. Perfect. So that's all set. That's all set. And confirm the altimeter. So actually, 1018 on the meter. It was like 1017. And yeah, looking at Heathrow weather, not looking particularly clear either. So it'll be quite interesting. That we'll see how the aircraft holds. Passengers boarded, we're now pre-flight. Thank you very much, cabin crew. We'll start the APU now that the aircraft has fueled up. Seatbelts on, APU master starts.
89, with service to London Heathrow. Our flight time will be roughly 1 hour.
Yeah, it's not a bad scenery from UK2000. It's definitely an aged one, but it is Glasgow. It looks like Glasgow. I mind seeing some modification. I mean, it's got kind of some like interior bits modelled and all that. But yeah, it's definitely classic UK2000. This. Maybe one day we'll see it up there, a bit of life. I mean, not the passengers inside actually, they're pretty good. A little bit of life, a little bit of modelling. So it's got something to it, but I'm sure, like I say, a few updates, bit of love, bit of tweaking. Just bring it to that more modern spec. I mean, look at this. Like, this is obviously flat texture. Again, accurate interior, but wouldn't mind seeing just a bit more love, a bit more going on for it. But apart from that, I've seen worse. I have seen worse, I'm not going to lie. And then, let's say, their Inverness scenery is a bit their Luton, I quite like their Luton actually. I quite like the Luton, I'm going to down them for that. But there are definitely newer, more modern sceneries available. Mackeson's a pretty good Manchester and Birmingham. Gaia Sim, currently doing Stansted. Again, another scenery that UK2000 are very well known for, so it's changing the balance of sceneries in the UK. It has definitely changed the balance of things. Right, AP is available, so AP beta comes on. Give it a few seconds to power the systems, and we'll click on the power. And by waiting, I mean we'll wait a little while, so we can ensure that there'll be no systems dropouts. There you go, logbook hasn't popped up this time. So I've no idea what happened yesterday. I've not been able to re-perform that little jump there, but what happened yesterday obviously was kind of a one-off thing. That's you can just what the from the terminal that. Right, so we are now just about ready for push and starts. Flight plan, yeah, that's fine. That's a flight for trip today. That's all fine. That's all fine. That's fine. That's fine. Perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we are now ready for push and starts. We will activate the beacon lights, just like Ground Cruiser that we are ready for engine starts. We will pop open PushbackZoomer. With the main flow of that. So I'm hoping there is a tug outside because I'm not quite sure what. There you go, there is a tug outside, just visible there. So if I tell it to end pushback on the actually it's quite a good little tour, this tow bar pushback. But I wonder if it's compatible with the well, compatible if you can actually run it alongside PushbackZoomer. Tell you what, let's give it a go, shall we? Let's give it a go. Ground from flight deck. Request pushback.
Pushback request not possible as the state
This
is
is
not
not
idle.
idle. Give it a few seconds to kind of just stabilise then, because the tug's moving, it's not idle, and therefore doesn't like it. Ground from flight deck. Request pushback.
Pushback request not possible as the state is not idle.
Really? Let me reload PushbackZoomer. If not, we'll just do tow bar. Ground from flight deck. Request pushback.
Pushback request confirmed.
There we go. We'll get the tug into position. We'll start the push, and then we'll switch over to tow bar. If it works, we'll be very, very happy with that. If it doesn't work, then well, what's the worst that can happen, eh? Famous last words. Right, nozzles being raised. Ground from flight deck.
Good afternoon. Departure checks completed. Doors and hatches closed. Bypass pin inserted. So please release brakes.
Brakes released.
So let the ride begin.
Ah, yeah, it's locked. Can't move it. Fair enough. Not possible.
Safety demonstration. Thank you for flying with us.
Switch to ignition start mode.
You are cleared to start the engines now.
Turn facing north.
Sure, let me turn you to a northern course.
procedures on this British Airways aircraft. The captain and the crew are here for your safety. It is important.
Here we go, engine 2 is ignited.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
First, check
Oops.
your seatbelt is securely
Yeah,
fastened.
of course PACX would,
Insert the metal tag
sorry, PushbackZoomer would just get into a little bit of a thing there.
on the loose end.
Hey, we've pushed. That's the problem with talking to PushbackZoomer, it just constantly listens out for messages, and the moment you say something that it kind of detects something of, it will just force the aircraft around direction. So when the pushback there, we're mostly out in the gate and all that, so we'll be alright. We can manage it from there. We can manage it from there. Engine 2 is available. Engine 1 starts. Just do a pre-flight check. So elevators active, ailerons active, rudder active, spoilers up, spoilers down. Perfect. Flaps to position 1. So we've loaded the flaps, we've pushed trim gates, and now just waiting for engine 1 to stabilise. In terms of time, so I think we're pretty much on time with expected departure at the moment. Probably take about 5 minutes to get to gates, so that'll be pretty alright. So I get from gates to runway. Just waiting for the engine to stabilise. There we go, system's now on the engines. Engine available, perfect. So AP bleed off, master switch off, and ignition off. So now it's on Unicom that we are now taxiing. Taxi lights on.
Taxi lights on.
Right, parking brake release, and let's get going. Also correct our position there. Yeah, perfect. Much better. So I say it's about 5 minutes taxi to the runway. Hold short, check the runway, now inside departure, and then get out of it. 1 hour and 5 minutes London today. 1 hour and 5 minutes. Yeah, this is a classic British Airways safety briefing. It's long since changed. I don't like the new one, I will admit. And of course, this is just a domestic flight. They're not going to have all the videos, and that's going to be a person with a microphone reading a script. But yeah, there's something about the old one, the classic Flower Duet, which I do really like. So far so good. AP's now shut off. Nearly near that. Alright, so that's the end of the safety briefing. We will now do our pre-takeoff checks. We will so call the cabin, we will arm the spoilers, set the brakes to max, takeoff config test, and that's our pre-takeoff checklist. Should now be complete. Oops, bit of a bump there. There's been a few of those on the ground at Glasgow. I remember when we were landing here earlier, the big bump on the ground that pumps the aircraft up in height. Right, make a right, hold shots, and then announce our takeoff intentions. Right, so Unicom, line up takeoff, transponder comes on, landing lights on.
Landing lights on.
Cabin crew, seats for takeoff please, seats for takeoff. Just also confirm there's no aircraft currently inbound. Almost clear. Let's get going. Auto throttle. Again, I'm not sure if you activate auto throttle before or after, but regardless, we'll activate it when required. Doing a few 737 flights as of late, so in the back of my mind, I'm now kind of more Boeing oriented. Right, throttle up 40. 1, 2 stable. After flex. $80 knots. 100 knots. V1 rotates. Positive rates, gear up. There you go. So long, Glasgow. Shall be back again in the next year or so, I think. It's not a super far destination to get to, and also tickets can be quite cheap, especially when flights going normally. So, not a difficult place to get to. Flaps up. So yeah, also has come on, so we'll now reduce throttle to climb position. Autopilot's on. Get co-pilots to activate the autopilot, sit on, climb, and the aircraft now proceed with the rest. I'm sitting in seats 22F today, so row forward than last flights, but still on the right hand side, so it's probably more of a view of my takeoff there, looking up to the air. But hey, again, as always, the scenery in Microsoft Flight Sim, absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I do love the sim, I really do. The flight dynamics and the navigation database could both be improved, but in terms of even then, the flight dynamics aren't all that bad these days. Initially it was pretty poor, but they have massively improved it now. I mean, compared landings to when it first released to nowadays, gosh, there was a time back when if you're below 20 feet, especially in the A320, the controls would lock up. You couldn't move it. Whatever you're doing at 20 feet, regardless of the weather, angles, whatever, if you're at 45-degree bank angle, you're hitting the ground to 45-degree bank angle. It was horrible. The sim nowadays is so much better, so much more responsive. I do really like it now. I mean, look at that. Look at that. It's a beauty. Passing through 8,000 feet now. Landing lights off. Taxi lights off. Okay, we'll do it ourselves, fair enough. Yeah, so that's all off. That's all sorted now. Next time we activate that will be during our descents. In terms of the weather right now, it's not looking too bad. It's definitely clearer than our last flight. So what I'll probably do is I'll let the aircraft continue its departure routes. As soon as we hit that Norway point, we're kind of straightens the flight plan out. So we'll go to there's a user point up ahead, which I hope that doesn't cause any problems. But hit to Norbo. Once we're at that point, it's pretty much a straight line path all the way to London. So let the aircraft do all its banks first, all its angles and that kind of stuff first, and then we'll switch off the seatbelt sign. As always, heavy manoeuvres after departure, and then nice and straightforward flights towards London. Passing through 12,000, aircraft has sped up now to Mach 0.54. That will cause you to speed up as we hit our cruising altitude, 320, much lower than before, so hopefully more than just 11 minutes of cruise today. And then, yeah, back in London to do it all again. Plus, got my jab tomorrow, so hopefully that will be very relieving for the future. Oops, the frame rate there got a bit of a drop when I was looking at Volanta. I'm not sure. I can imagine Volanta's actually probably quite GPU heavy given it's all 3D and dynamic, so maybe it's best not to use that map when I'm flying. At least not streaming. I'm not streaming, the GPU's not too heavily bombarded thanks to the OBS streaming encoding as well. That's off the NVIDIA NVEC as well. So again, I can be very careful sometimes with my GPU. Don't want to overload it. Cause myself any problems later down the line. We will be speaking to London Control later on, so we have got ATC for London, also have Heathrow Tower active. Oh, so you've got Scottish Control. Interesting. Scottish Control, that controls Northern England and not Scotland. Interesting. But yeah, we have got London ATC today, so we'll be speaking to London Control once we hit the border. Now passing through 18,000 feet, flight level 180. So as I made city today, we'll be flying through, so we're flying over Irvine on the coast. We'll then fly over Dumfries, south of Dumfries. Pass through, very not actually, we'll pass through Blackpool. We're flying between Liverpool and Manchester. Overhead Stoke-on-Trent. Oh, interesting, Stoke-on-Trent. Through Stafford, through Penkridge, Cannock, Hensford. Interesting. We've got family also kind of in that area. So fly over Birmingham, fly over north of Oxford, south of Milton Keynes, so avoid Luton airspace. Over Aylesbury, over Hemel Hempstead, and then into London. The flight plan shows over Oxbridge, but I can imagine that doesn't take, well, it doesn't take into account the star, because the star won't send you over Oxbridge basically, unless you're flying loop around left or right. Bravo November, was it Bravo November 1 Bravo today? That's our start. So if we look at that for the charts. Let that loads. Zero Nova, so it's Bravo November and Lambourne are the two choices that we get. So over Bovingdon, over Lambourne. So actually we may even hit Uxbridge as well, looking at the flight plan to be fair. We may even hit Uxbridge. But yeah, pretty straightforward approach that. Nice and simple, I can easily recreate that if any problems. Coolio. So make this left hand turn, and then we'll switch off the seatbelt sign. Passing through 23,000 feet now, flight level 230. Perfect. Seatbelts off. Next stop, London Heathrow. See ahead of us there's some high altitude cloud. That's probably what we were kind of flying over yesterday. But apart from that, again, pretty straightforward, pretty clear weather. In terms of things I did in Glasgow, because like I say, this is still technically being recorded before I go to Glasgow, but in terms of things I did, I absolutely would have ridden the Cathcart Circle, would have done the Glasgow Metro the whole way around, because again, it's one line, goes in a loop basically. Takes about an hour or so to go through. In fact, I might even watch that Jeff Marshall video before I run it, kind of see what there is spots. But that's pretty exciting stuff, because again, I like my trains. Probably would have done... I would have visited the stadium, so I would have gone to the Ibrox, would have gone to Hampden Park, would have gone to... It's not Celtic Park, isn't it? Yeah, Celtic Park Stadium. I've done all three of those. I was thinking Celtic Park. I was thinking Parkhead in the back of my mind. No, Parkhead's the area. Celtic Park Stadium. Yeah, so Celtic Park, Ibrox, and Hampden Park. I'm probably just spent a bit of time just walking around. To be fair, that's what I do with these city trips. I've got only a day. I've got myself 2 bossed down with things to do. Just walk, look, enjoy yourself, and then go to the next area, I guess. Leave the proper sit down, look around for the kind of the second, third time up. Just again, I'd love to do Stockholm again. Stockholm was the first day, day trip. It was a 2-day trip. So I went on a Saturday, came back on Sunday. Spent a bit more time in the city centre. Enjoy what there is to see. Enjoy what there is to do. But I highly recommend it. Once the world opens up again, I highly recommend you guys do a weekend trip. You fly on a Saturday, spend 1 night somewhere cheap, come back on a Sunday. It's 2 days, new city, new place. It is worth it. It is worth it. I mean, I guess at the moment I can now kind of do it domestically in the UK. So I mean, to be fair, COVID, especially now it's kind of cleared up a bit. Maybe it's more of a godsend kind of. Instead of spending all my money to go to the other countries to look around these day trips, spend a bit more time domestically, because I don't always do that, I must admit. Why go to Blackpool when you can go to Spain instead for 20 quid? But now, Blackpool's a very viable option. I might go there one day, you never know. Spend a bit of time exploring the UK, and then, once things properly open up again, back all around Europe, back around the world hopefully as well. There's a lot to do, there's a lot to see and do. The world's a big, big place. Passing through 30,000 now, flight level 330. Yeah, if I zoom out, you can now see Heathrow just on the top of the ND there. Nice and simple, straightforward flight plan, not too much for us to worry about. Yeah, even the weather today, a bit more relaxed compared to yesterday. I mean, look at the thumbnails for yesterday's stream compared to today's stream. It's a lot clearer, a lot cleaner. Although I'm expecting a bit of a turbulence approach to Heathrow today. The flight will definitely put out new weather reports when we get there. I'm looking at it now. It's 7 knot wind, 0 on 0. So rain reported, visibility at 4 kilometers. Broken clouds is down to 600, 900, and overcast 21. Cloud base, cloud base 21. Cloud base at 600. 14 centigrades, 0.13, connection 1012. Yeah, so I'll definitely print out another weather report on top of descent there, just so I can see how that changes as the flight goes ahead. The Glasgow one was pretty simple, it just showed clear skies, nothing to report. Therefore, there was no need for me to kind of print out another one, because the weather's information is all the same. But on this flight, it's going to be pretty hefty, pretty important, the weather on approach. I could do it on the tablet as well, because if I go to dashboard, it does show you the weather reports on the tablets. There you go, so London weather still reporting quite similar. In fact, the map now shows you the weather patterns as well. London surrounded by very thick storms. So we'll see how that goes, as that progresses as we head back towards the capital. So we're now at cruise, we're now at flight level 330, 33,000 feet. Cruising at Mach 0.78 today. ETA shows 1601 Zulu. Ooh, will that even be accurate? It's accurate to the time I'm recording this. Don't think it's accurate to the time that we're flying this, ain't it? I'm sure there's a way I can change it actually. I'll go to set. Yeah, there is. The problem is. Okay, tell you what, I'll probably have edited that in post to show my actual flying time when I get there. I'll need to remember to do that. The font is Purista, and yeah, I can mimic that. It's not a problem. Just got to remember to take an hour, change that for the Zulu time, and then work out when I'm actually landing there. So by the time you've seen that EasyJet top there, it probably just is, so especially if I look at the overhead, it's now going to appear slightly like out of sync in terms of positioning its angle and viewpoints, that kind of stuff. With time just stuck on top, that's not updating. Probably looking at our landing time of, well, 15:45 Zulu, because we landed at 16:45 local time, minus an hour for Zulu, and then stick it up there instead. Effort tight. Now, what's also interesting is that by cruising at 330, we are no longer going to clear the cloud base up in front. As soon as we hit that, going to be stuck right in the thick of that. There's our snack and drink service now going through the cabin. And while it may not be quite advisable to change our cruise up to flight level 370 or 390, I guess the big decision is how long will we be cruising in that? Will it be relatively clear? Will it cover the majority of the latter part of our flight? If I look at the map up ahead, see it's undetectable as far as 80 miles out. There's an aircraft to our left there, 2,000 feet below us. Undetectable until about 80 miles out, so it's plenty of distance away. So maybe not something for us to worry about too much. Looking at that traffic, I don't see it down below. Who is it? It's going to be Easy 213, currently flying to Edinburgh from Gatwick. In a couple of minutes, I'll probably get myself onto plugging the approach. Yeah, look to plug in the approach now as well. Just get out all out and down the way, and then get ourselves on the ground. So that's going to be the Bovington 1 Bravo for 09 right. Confirm the local latest. That is still 09 right, an active runway. They changed to 09 left now, okay, so runway 09 left via the Bovington. So you see there's no more Bovington approach for that one. So if we go back to the chart Fox, it's Bovington or Lambourne. They have got a Lambourne approach. Okay. How's that? Is that Aylesbury? Aylesbury 1 Hotel. Because that could do it for us, actually. Or Chiltern. Do we have a Chiltern approach? No, we don't. Honingham, Hayes, Lambourne, Logan. Okay, we'll give the Aylesbury approach a go, I guess. My first time doing that. No Vias. Right, that's Lake there flying over DCS. Delta Charlie Sierra. How's that look? Probably horribly wrong. Yes, it is horribly wrong. Okay, I'm going to do a hooky Lambourne then. So arrivals, ILS 09 left on the Lambourne. There's different styles of Lambourne available. Do we have anything that could potentially turn us earlier? Answer is not really. Not really. Okay, so do one Zulu, no Vias and inserts. So that streamlines the approach slightly. Well, actually, probably let's have a look. 09 left, no star. Inserts, right. Does that give us a straightened approach from New Grid? The answer is yes, and that user point is where. What I'll probably end up doing is just hard coding the approach myself, actually, because that's probably the easiest way to do things. So Nugra, there's the user point. Of course, it's going to be in the middle of the airport, is it? Because, you know, logic. So I'll clear that. Of course we can't clear it, so we'll just work around it. Nugra, we fly to Bravo November. So that's there. Don't tell me I have to put it above Nugra. It's going to be very annoying if that's the case. So that one. Where have you put it? Okay, erase that. Okay. Worst case scenario, we're just going to request vectors instead. Seatbelt sign on. Now right on the cloud layer. I might actually climb to 350 as well. Just gonna get off that turbulence bit. It's really annoying because the Bovingdon approach is perfect for us, but the FMS cannot find it. So unless they've removed it at some stage. And I can always fly vectors as well. It's got me. I've got the headings for it. So as you hit Bovingdon, we fly heading 178. Make a right to 265. Left 358, and then intercepts the runway. Approaching 09. So we can do it manually if we need to. It's just not the most ideal way of doing things. Frequency 110.3 is set. That's correct. Course is 089. Perfect. So that's all. So what the course is 99. No, that's fine. Okay, we'll let the aircraft do what it's got. Yeah, this is our chart basically. So Bovingdon, head south 178, then it's 265 onto 358, and then approach in and land. So we can just do it hands on if we need to. Using the River Thames as reference points there. So looking at that, we're going to fly around Marlow, Henley-on-Thames, use Maidenhead as a waypoint, over Windsor, and then into land. Kind of like VFR flying, based on a map position for an airspace that I've, well, fly to Heathrow all the time, but alongside busy ATC, well, what's the worst that can happen, eh? Really is a flight of famous last words, that. Right, let's tune to London Control, 132605. Yep, just saw you there. Hello there, London Control. This is Speedbird 1489 at flights level 350, inbounds Nugra.
Studio 1489. Hello, London. Squawk 4370.
Squawk 4370 for Speedbird 1489. Right, 4370.
Studio 1489, Nugra 1 hotel arrival.
Nugra 1 hotel arrival for Speedbird 1489. Okay, we've got an approach. So set that arrival 09 left. Lambourne, Logan, Nugra 1 hotel. There it is. Perfect. Insert that. No vias, and insert that. Still going to look like a disaster, I can imagine. But it's an approach. So I wonder what happens to Bovingdon then, because it used to be quite a common one for Heathrow arrivals. Of course, there you go. And of course, it's going to do that. Yikes! What am I going to say about that? Yikes. We'll work out if I get vectors for the final bit as well. It's probably not even just the case of vectors. It's just because from Whiskey Charlie Oscar, it's going to technically should go direct to. We'll work it out. That's a problem for 20 minutes time, not for right now. We'll get Heathrow Tower on standby. So it's 118705. There you go. As soon as you hit Heathrow airspace, or so when you hit Heathrow on the approach, then we'll tune across, bring it into land.
Runway 25. 22, sorry, correct. Yeah, Sweden 5612, it's 04 as per your clearance, taxi Kilo 1, call me holding short. Taxi 2, heading point runway 21, we call back holding short, Sweden 5612.
As always, aircraft performing well, up at cruise, and just under halfway there now. With let's calculate top of descent, now at 35,000, 365, 369, 510, 15, 105 miles today, top of descent, 105.
London Control, good afternoon.
I'm sure I can confirm that as well by syncing. And target altitude for the intercept is down to 2,500. 102, 105, so yeah, not that far off. In terms of our actual distance at the moment, it's 207, so about 10 minutes or so now till top of descent.
Yeah, 5612, we contact tower, we come back later, thank you.
When you look at the weather right now outside, it's a flat plain of clouds. A few little bumps up ahead, but generally quite flat that. As soon as you hit top of descent, that's when the spectacle really starts showing. You kind of just see it down below. Some on the ground visible, but it's gonna be very pretty, the descent back down today.
Control Seaport 4522, about to reach the top of descent. Should I descend with you or should I descend on you?
So I'm keeping my ear out now for ATC communications. If I look at the arrivals into Heathrow at the moment, there's three inbound aircraft, which okay, with the only aircraft inbound currently airborne. There's an aircraft in where? In Kuala Lumpur at the moment. Whiskey, India currently on ground. An aircraft also currently at Berlin, A321. Who's that? Ukrainian Airlines, something like that. Yeah, also at the ground at Berlin, departing soon. And our ETA puts us at 24 minutes right now, 24 minutes till arrival. Currently overhead of Blackpool at the moment. Currently I've had Blackpool. Flight path soon takes over Manchester, so we'll probably spot, well, from my right hand seat I'll be trying to spot Liverpool from down below. Again, not really much in regards to the current weather setup, but hey ho, what can you do? It's middle of the day flying at least, bright sky, you've got the moon out. Although I need to check at some point, because apparently the eclipse was properly done in a flight sim. I forget where it was. It was Northern Hemisphere, went across kind of, well, the very Northern Hemisphere. But yeah, there was an eclipse which properly got simulated in this flight sim. I'd love to see how it acts on a solar eclipse as well, if it really does then darken the world and brighten it's an experiment I'd do at some point actually. Kind of change the dates, change the time, and then just kind of match it, see what happens. If it works, it could be very, very good indeed. Maybe have a look for the date of the next total eclipse, and well, have a wait, I guess. Looks like the control has dropped out momentarily. You can listen to Scott Centre just in case, Scottish Control. And keep an eye out on the London Centre as well, just in case they may or may not return. Their altitude limit is... yeah, it's 280, fair enough, so we'll what's it, flight follow, do flight following on Scott's Centre. And then as soon as London Control comes back, tune back to them, and then continue with the rest of ATC. There is London Centre, sorry, London Tower still online as well, so we'll get Heathrow Tower regardless. And we'll just wait and see what happens to London Centre. Actually, one thing I guess I could probably kind of slide in an advertisement. This Saturday, Sunday, this weekend at the Right Ladder Railway, we have ourselves an open weekend. So if you want to come down, say hello, ride some trains, and check out the workshop as well. It's a very impressive setup. Then come on down. Come down, say hello. I find it quite interesting. If you're into your trains, might drop at the end to a couple of people I know who live nearby as well, see if they want to pop on down, see if they're interested. So far so good. We're now just over halfway there, still getting around ETA of 20 minutes. Top descents, 150 miles to go, so we'll print out an updated weather sheet. So ASC menu, weather request, and send. Wait for company message to arrive. Any second now. Perfect. Received. View, print. Head back to performance. Next phase, next phase. Pull the sheet out. Let's have a look. Has it improved in any way? The answer is kind of actually. Visibility has gone to 10 kilometers. So yeah, it's gone from 4 kilometers to plus 10 kilometers. 6 knot winds, 020. Still cloudy, but it's not as low as it was earlier. So yeah, it has definitely improved. Right, so QNH is 1012. What was the pressure before as well? Pressure earlier was same as 1012, fair enough. So 1012, temperature is currently at 14 centigrade, 2.13. So quite damping at the moment. Magnitude of winds 0206. And then transition 6000. And our minimums. We've got the approach charts for 09 left. So category C 158. Perfect. So that's all set. We use 4 flaps landing, 1-3 approach, touchdown at 118. So that's all set. Yeah, so that Whiskey Charlie Oscar point, instead of going through Bovingdon and around, make a right, get ourselves to the localizer, and then bring the aircraft into land. Presume that's what ATC are looking from us. 144 miles. By the time we get to that waypoint with everything added, it probably will. Yeah, so we'll descend now. Set altitude 2000.
That's done.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sets. So we're now leaving at cruising altitude. I'll quickly announce that on Unicom that we're leaving, because AC has now completely gone offline. Top descent, so start of arrival was the Nugra 1 Hotel, was it? Stuff like that. Inbound from the north. Approach on the ILS for 09 left. Just to confirm that's still the active runway. The answer is yes. Departure runway and arrival runway 09 left. So now leaving our cruise. We'll hit the thick of the cloud shortly. I'll probably turn the seatbelt sign on quite... Actually, did I turn that off in the end? I did turn it off, but, because remember the turbulence hit on the high altitude cloud, I turned it back on again, never turned it off. Whoops. Oh well. Turn it off now, and let passengers have their quick moments of freedom back before turning it back on again, I guess. Aircraft will keep level at 290 knots, Mach 0.75. Again, that will adjust as you continue to descent down, passing through 30,000 feet very shortly. Flight level 300. Anti-ice on. Turn the anti-ice on just for the sake of keeping the aircraft stable. Well, I say stable, so we'll just kind of stop it from freezing up, I guess. Right, let's see how bad this turbulence is. Hope not too bad, but ultimately, regardless of what our turbulence is like, seatbelt sign will be back on again at 22,000. At least round about that figure. Yeah, getting a little bit bumpy now, so seatbelt sign on, anti-ice is active. Passing through 25,000, flight level 250. So far so good. You can see there's one aircraft in a Piper I'm going to pipe it to 28. Just, oh, he's flying across London, I guess. He's flying out of Oxford to the Torquay in Paris. Well, the Torquay Paris plage, even. Not quite in Paris, near Calais. Yeah, he's got himself a fun little route across London. Very nice. He's also doing his VFR flight as well. He's got his flight plan filed, but it's a VFR flight, which is certainly possible in IVAO. It does take a bit of skill to do so on an online network, but I feel like doing it one day. I've done a couple of VFR flights in the past. It's worth doing. Worth doing. So there's also one aircraft in the CRJ. CRJ just departed from Stansted to Paris. Paris Charles de Gaulle. West Air Sweden. Quite a high cruise as well, flight level 410. Good luck with that. So continue our descent. Visibility outside not exactly giving us much to look at. There you go. There are some minor breaks in this cloud layer, but apart from that, we can pay some extra care with our descent today. $18,000. We'll switch our altimeter now before we forget later. So is it altimeter 1017, was it? 1012. As long as we're down to 2,500 before the intercepts, when we set our altimeter doesn't particularly matter at this point. We've essentially been cleared down to low enough altitude to set up already. I won't activate the backlighting controls yet. There's no need for integrity lights at this point. It's cloudy, but it's not night time. Especially once you hit Heathrow, should be pretty bright regardless. Pop open FlightControlReplay now. And also, let's minimise our descent rate now, because we are coming in well too hot. Well too hot. We'll drop down to about 800 feet per minute at this point. Any more than that, we'll be, well, we're already too low too early. Kind of just slow things down now a bit. Because right now we're still over Coventry. So got a little while to go for London. Another, well, 99 miles to go. Again, that also takes into account the leg to Bovingdon and to loop around, and by the time we hit with Charlie Oscar, we're going to fly direct to the glide slope and then bring the aircraft into land from there. So actually we're going to reduce that to maybe 500 feet per minute now. So we've got plenty of time, plenty of speed left, so there's no need to kind of bring this to halt just at the moment. And we can give us about 20 miles or so between 10,000 feet and the intercept, so 20 miles will be plenty. It's about 50 or so to go now till we intercept. 50 miles to go. Interesting light in there, a bit of flickering. No rain, well, rain is reported on the, okay, right there, RA, so it's rain. Rain's been reported on the approach path, but nothing yet visible here. There are some aircraft around us as well, need to be wary of. There's an aircraft 1,500 feet below us. Just to the right. In fact, that is the, that's the Piper right there. The Piper 28. So I'm glad I can keep an eye on him on radar, because that is traffic I must pay very careful attention with. He is cruising at 12,000 feet, flight level 120. So we'll pass him without too many problems, continue our descents. Again, it's just good to be able to keep an eye on that. Have him visible. We do that last bit of descent. There we go, bit of break in the clouds. There's a quick moment of respite there. .13,000 feet. Just about to fly over, well, just north of Oxford, kind of same longitude as Milton Keynes now. Heathrow, about 40 miles away. In fact, we'll even zoom in there on the ND. So yeah, that waypoint there, Whiskey Charlie Oscar. We'll get ourselves a direct point ready for Charlie Foxtrot 09. And then as soon as we hit that waypoint, make a right-hand turn. And then hit this final leg of the approach. So not long to go now. Not long to go. There will definitely be some adrenaline in the cabin right now. Bumpy, turbulent, bit rough, but hey ho. Such is the weather for the UK. It's pretty standard stuff. This 12,000 feet hitting. ETA about 8 minutes. Now that's the Soppit waypoints. Flying overhead Bishop. .7 miles to waypoint direct change, and also about to hit 10,000 feet, so the aircraft will very shortly drop its speed down to 250 knots, and then from there continue the rest of the descent in. So yeah, I'd say about 20 miles between here and the intercept, so it'll be about 25 or so. Which is pretty good going. In fact, we'll do the direct point now, get that over and done with. So direct point set, economics right and turn. Charlie Foxtrot 09 sets. Just manage our descent rate again to the aircraft. And that's it. Take care of the rest. Cabin crew, 10 minutes landing, 10 minutes. So I get the approach phase message from the cabin. Better do it from the right hand side. Landing lights on. Deactivates? Maybe not. Landing lights on.
Landing lights.
There we go, that's better. Much more visible.
We have begun our final descent to London Heathrow. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to select exit track one final time. Please ensure to table where we go.
So below 10,000, we're at 250 knots. 20 miles or so now to our intercepts. We'll activate the landing systems for both sides. Landing system on, landing system on. Make sure that FlightControlReplay is recording. Right, 20 miles to intercept. Landing in 31 miles. Tune out to Heathrow Tower, we've just disconnected. Very annoying. Okay, Unicorn right down to landing. At least we got London Centre for about 5 minutes. You win some, you lose some. Unfortunately, I am doing this in the middle of the week right now, which is not exactly the best time for ATC comms. We'll also now activate the approach phase, that we get the aircraft start slowing down. Performance, activate and confirm. And with that, once we start loading the flaps as well. Well, in fact, the aircraft has decided to level off though, so spoilers out. Let's give it some assistance. There you go, going through the altitude now for the glide slope. Try and follow along with it, I'd say. So descent rate's about 600 feet per minute. Just follow along, try not to lose that vertical diamond. Flaps position 1.
Flaps to 1.
Flaps will add drag, spoilers also add drag. Keep the aircraft as steady as possible. Set the brakes to medium. Since landing 09 side, I want to get off the wrong way as soon as possible for the Heathrow Terminal 5. Set the rate drop down to 1,000. I think that's stabilised it quite nicely for me, perfect. Flaps position 2.
Flaps 2.
Nope, don't turn yet. Keep going at 160. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's... I can imagine that's something to, again, do with the Microsoft Flight Sim navigation database, where you hit a particular area, and then instead of going to the next waypoint, it just decides it goes direct to the airport instead. Doesn't you have to be a little more careful with your final stage of flights and kind of keeping it on the right heading? Apart from that, it's just not terrible. It still does the job. Yeah, remember, we'll track spoilers as soon as you hit the insets. I don't want to have the aircraft stalled out on me, especially on the very final bits of the flights. But right now it's helping us maintain a low descent profile. Also the airplane now as well. In fact, the protracts them now, to be fair. Don't really need them too much more. Armed spoilers for landing. There you go, intercepts in 6 miles. So the aircraft there, they're going to overfly Heathrow airports. They're doing it from an altitude of 12,000. So they're not a problem for us now. They're well above us, well out of our way. Heathrow's runway is Cat 3 capable, so if we need to use flight autoland we can do. It is an option available for us, presuming that of course the dev version of the A320 has got it enabled as opposed to experimental. I'm sure I tried the dev version before, it doesn't quite work, so we'll have it as a backup, but as soon as the ground is visible I'll likely go straight back into autopilot off and manual landing, but we'll see how it goes. We still have a few more minutes left for the approach. The aircraft's perfectly level for altitude right now. Don't think it can be any better than that right now. Just waiting for the intercepts to the heading. Alright, so if I drop down to 95%. There we go, a little bit below now, so down 600 feet per minute vertical speed. Passing through 3,300. Almost at 2,500. Finger on the localizer. There's 2,500 on screen. Localizer sets. Reduce the descent rate down to 300 feet per minute, just ensure we get onto the glide slope there. Flaps position 3.
Flaps 3.
Flaps 3. There we go, that is now moving down the horizontal. Sorry, the vertical. I don't know why I keep my horizontal to vertical mixed way around now, it's very annoying. Almost there, the vertical. Landing gear will drop at 5 miles at Heathrow. Alright, approach mode sets. When that's how established. Somewhere above us, just kind of level to us, is the pie part. They've got their weather clearer than ours, aka change away from live weather. There's a good chance they will spot us from the air. There we go, just down below now, ground slowly coming into view. So we're right now flying overhead of Windsor. So we just passed Maidenhead, now flying overhead Windsor. May even spot Windsor Castle down below. Unlikely, given the weather, but there's the yachting club. It's getting into view, I guess. Possibly then, possibly. Gear down. Flaps down to 4. Cabin check. You can see some flashing lights in the airport. That's going to be an aircraft, I presume. Yes. That'll be United Airlines 2744 flying out shortly. Oh, there you go. Ground's now visible. Perfect. cabin crew, seats for landing please, seats for landing. Alright, let's do this, shall we?
Cabin crew, seats for landing, please. Seats for landing.
So, gear down, 3 greens, flaps set, spoilers armed, brakes armed. We have landing clearance. All that's left is to disable autopilot, set the mid-approach go-around altitude when required, 1000, autopilot's off, set altitude 4000,
Okay.
mid-approach altitude sets. Let the aircraft continue to keep steady approach. Nice and smooth, nice and smooth.
500. 400.
There you go. Prime flight display showing landing mode sets.
300.
Tiny bit below glide slope, but not problematic at this point.
200. 100 above.
100 above.
100.
100.
Minimum.
Minimums continue.
40. 30. 20. 10.
Idle throttle. And as downhill runway that, reverses sets. 100 knots. 80 knots. 60 knots. Reverses cuts. And exit runway to the right. Yeah, just kind of hit the wrong points of the runway there. Not particularly bad, but it's kind of where the runway drops ever so slightly.
The local time is 4:12 p.m. and it's
Oh well, hey ho, welcome to Heathrow.
degrees Celsius.
Spoilers reset, flaps up,
Devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft
and
is
vacate
covered.
runway to the right.
Seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember
There you go, follow taxiway out, just to the right. See the nice upper heads. Okay, I'm sure I retracted spoilers, but for some reason they just don't retract. There we go. So I have to set them, then retract them. I'll try and remember that. Also, not sure when the last time United flew an A320 to Heathrow was, but can't imagine it being too recently. Right, we'll follow behind them. Make way over to the runway. Also, we'll kill the transponder. Slow our speed down, so we're going to match the, what's that, like 5 knots the United's doing right now. Nice, well, slow and steady wins the race, I guess. Slow and steady taxi over to Terminal 5. So before I forget, start the APU. There we go. Clean up all systems. That's much better. We'll go to Terminal 5A, because Terminal 5 split into 3 sections. Terminal 5A, B and C. Terminal 5A I believe is more for the, well, they all do international, but Terminal 5A fits your standard 320, 321 aircraft, so narrow body, short, medium haul aircraft. Terminal 5B holds a mix of narrow body and wide body, and Terminal 5C holds your big aircraft, so your 747s and A380s. The prime of that, since we retired, the 747s, which again, still a hard shame, because I should have been on one of those, but sadly, never to be, never to be. Right, slow ourselves down a bit, since they're getting a bit close now to their tail. We'll now make a left-hand turn, clear their path, and then, well, probably watch their take off as well, actually, because they're right up against the runway now. Nothing much really holds them now between and the runway and actually taking off. Don't think any of these gates have the vehicle. Yeah, none of these have the. Well, maybe. Nah, that's out of the way. Okay, yeah. So none of these gates have the preset guide ones and all that. None of those over there either. Well, maybe. I don't know. No, that's just a guy walking around. Yeah, none of these are set, so we'll take any stand just to the right. So I must take this one here since that's the closest one to us. Yeah, I'm sure the brake sensitivity has also been adjusted. They're a lot stronger than they used to be. I've learned that a few times now where I hit the brakes, and rather than just slowing the airplane down, brings it to a complete halt. Taxi lights off. Save blinding anyone here. Hold position, parking brakes set, APU is available, APU bleed on, engines 1 and 2 off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London Heathrow Airport. The local time right now is approximately 18 minutes past 5, with the temperature outside right now being around around 15 degrees centigrade. We thank you for flying with British Airways today, and we hope you have a safe onward journey from this flight. Cabin crew, disarm doors and cross check please. Thank you. Right, so we'll send that to the back. We will turn off the beacon lights and we will activate 6 on the power. APU off. And jet bridge very shortly now, also move its way to the aircrafts. The United is on the runway now, starting a takeoff run. So we'll see that in the background as the jetway connects to the aeroplane. There you go, not a bad flight that overall. Made to Heathrow, a couple minutes to spare, about 11 minutes to spare. And yeah, overall a very, very good flight indeed. So, as passengers deboard, we'll now do the cleanup. So, we'll start recording the replay. We'll finish the flight on Volanta. Thank you very much. We won't disconnect from IVAO just yet. We'll let the United aircraft take off with the traffic on the ground. At least for me personally, I don't know how much I enjoy landing in an airport, take off from an airport, with an aircraft sitting there at gates, just watching go by. So, we'll give them a watch. In fact, if we even go to passenger point of view for that, the passenger, let's see the lots. Ah, they've gone the proper American style, I see. They're going right to the end. So you got a load of these arrows on the runway. There you go, load of arrows. they might have slightly different scenery, so they can stop it further down the runway. But yeah, they stop at the end of the runway and then do the takeoff run. I don't think that's really required, at least in the European airspace rules. And there you go, safe flying to wherever you're going to. Alright, off it goes. Also an aircraft behind there as well. Obviously in a non-matched livery. Right, it's taken off now. Let's disconnect from IVAO. So off, 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 and off. Right. And the flight check out the report. So BA1489 A320 from Glasgow to London. Flight time was exactly 1 hour. Planned departure at 15:20. Arrived at 15:12. Departure at 15:12. Planned arrival at 16:25 around 6:42. Again, the time's a bit of a mismatch because that's when I'm actually recording this as opposed to when the actual flight is. 119 passengers, satisfaction 95, landing rate 226, block time 1 hour and 16 minutes. Head schedule, apart from that, everything else looks good. I will now load the replay, and let's have a good landing from the passenger's perspective, shall we? So we'll have a look at that landing as well, because one thing I did definitely notice in the approach was the as we're flying into the actual landing itself, it's the very late, well, kind of where the runway drops slightly. The runway slightly drops, and that's ultimately drops our landing rate there slightly. Not by much, but definitely had a small effect in that. Everything else though, pretty much, well actually, for this weather condition, probably as good as it could get. So there you go, short final in. Here are the waterlands, there's the Queen Elizabeth Reservoir on the right. Well, on the left hand side of the screen, going to the right. Very shortly, we'll be crossing over the M25 motorway. There it is. There's the airport perimeter road. There's Terminal 5 as we enter the threshold. There's the flare, idle throttle, and down. Yeah, not a terrible landing, that's not terrible. I have done worse. I have definitely done worse, that's for sure. Right, I look from the left hand's perspective now. So change seats, there we go. So that's overhead the town of Harmonsworth. Cornbrook and Harmonsworth. We'll be able to spot Longford as well. Kind of just squashed between Heathrow and the M4. There it is. Over the runway and... Gee, a very fast playback there, I must admit. There's your touchdown. Have a look at it from the tail view. So short final then. So relatively industrial part of, well, the industrial side of the airport this. If coming from the east, it's more trades, housing and people living there, but between Windsor and Heathrow airports, it's reservoirs, lakes and, well, factories and warehouses basically. A lot of where the cargo side of things live as well, because you have Stanwell, of course. Stanwell, the town just to the south of Heathrow. Also where the Heathrow cargo terminal resides as well. I mean, Heathrow is a very, very vast place. It's got its own police force, fire agency, ambulance service. It's got its own bylaws as well. There's a lot of autonomy for an airport. It's kind of like its own megacity basically. Apart from that, pretty straightforward landing, I'd say. I get ourselves onto a view of the final. Here we go. And that's a pretty good view actually, just coming from up above. There we go. View of the short final. Over the N25. There's Longford. Over the runway. And there's your touchdown. Just missed the markers. Well, actually, not by much maybe. Did miss the markers, but maybe not as bad as it first looked on the first landing. And then there you go. There's your run out at Heathrow runway 09. So, that I guess brings us to the end of our return trip back to London. I'll say it was 2 days in Glasgow. Can't really fault it, can you? I'm sure I had a lot of fun. Again, I can't say because it's still recorded before I go, not after. Technicalities though, technicalities. But yes, so tomorrow, get my jab. Try and stream in the evening, we'll see how I feel basically. Otherwise, yeah, thank you for coming along, thank you for watching. I'll see you all again in the very near future. Take care, thank you for watching, and bye bye. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe too, if you've done that already, always appreciated.